to Glasgow Rangers Nation. With me, your host, Owen James. The channel that brings you all your latest Rangers news. Guys, look, we're going to obviously reflect back on last night's game. Rangers go out of the Europa League. I think there's a lot comes out of that. I think, look, before we get into any discussions over penalties, sendings off, whatever, let's just say, look, we're not them. We're not bitter. That's not how we behave as fans. The best team went through. I don't think you can make any argument for Rangers being the best team or deserving to go through last night. It was not a performance that they covered themselves in glory. We just don't have the talent, the ability, or the class to cope with teams like this at this higher level at this moment in time. So look, I mean, I'm not going to say that Bilbao didn't deserve to win. They deserved to win. They were the better side. I know there'll be some fans who won't be able to take that. There'll be some fans who will absolutely slaughter me for that. But look, I'm just going as a football fan there. I mean, look, we'll get into the penalty and get the discussion into that first of all. But, let's obviously first of all reflect on a couple of things from the team selection. I've got to say that looking at the team selection tonight, I think Barry got his team absolutely 1,000,000% wrong. I think that was completely the wrong team to pick, the wrong way of lining up. Absolute, just not the right team at all. He got it so badly wrong. I thought he got his substitutions in the game badly wrong as well. And I've got to say, and again, this is going to make me unpopular with some fans, I hope that now kills stone dead any talk of Barry getting this job on a permanent basis. I think tonight he's proved that he isn't up to the job. He isn't up to doing it on a permanent basis. I think he's perfect to be an interim manager. He's perfect to be the cheerleader to try and get you through to the end of the season. But he isn't the right man for the job long term. I think his in-game management is as bad as Clement's. I think his team selection was appalling tonight. I mean, you play James Tavernier as the right-sided centre-back when Tav has actually in Europe this season been better as a right wing back, enabling him to get forward. He's the only player who's put balls into the box. And I don't look, and you like, I don't usually defend James Tavernier. You know that. You know I will go after James Tavernier because I don't think he's a very good player. But he's actually been a better player going forward in that right wing back role. He should have started Nsiala as part of that back three. He brought Nsiala on, so he's obviously got confidence in coping in Europe. I would have gone with Balogun, Suter and Nsiala as the back three, put Tavernier as the right wing back. I think playing Ridvan as a right wing back is just a disaster. The guy's left footed. He's very left footed. And like I said, Tav is the one player who you can kind of rely on to keep the width on that right side and put the ball into the box and cause pressure on other teams. And that didn't happen at all tonight. And I think that was the first thing that Barry got wrong. Massively wrong. I think playing Hadji was the right decision. Fair enough. Look, I don't know. Some people are going to come. Well, you hate Dessers. You're going to say that, aren't you? Playing Cyril Dessers tonight was the biggest mistake ever. I mean, you tell me what about his performance tonight merited him starting. I think he was rated 2.8 on the player ratings, 2.6 I've seen as well on another one, 2.2 on another one. These are all out of 5, obviously. I thought he was appalling tonight, absolutely appalling. Barry Ferguson quite clearly thinks that Cyril Dessers is the best striker we've got at the club. If he thinks that, then I would worry about Barry Ferguson as a manager going forward. Hamza Igerman is by far the better striker. Hamza Igerman is by far the better player. Barry Ferguson came out during the week and I think dropped the biggest hint possible that Hamza wouldn't start by talking about him being very raw, still not up to having to brush up on certain things. Thing is, though, he still finishes a lot better than Dessers. His chance conversion rate across games is a lot better than Cyril Dessers. Hamza Igerman does not need 12 to 15 chances to score one single goal. Cyril Dessers, you need to generate him at least 8 to 10 chances a game for him to get even one. Playing Dessers tonight just shows that this is not the man to take us forward, and that Dessers, that was the wrong team selection. He should have played Hamza. Hamza has scored goals under pressure in those circumstances, like they would have been under tonight. against Celtic, for example, in that comeback victory as well. You know, he's done it time after time this season, and yet you go with Cyril Dessers, who time after time has let you down when the pressure is on. Yes, he scores goals, but the majority of Cyril Dessers' goals, go back and look at them, come when the game is done and dusted, or they are not what they are, what teams or what the analysts or the stats guys call decisive goals. End of discussion. I'm not even going to argue with you about it. Honestly, not going to argue with you about it. I know you're entitled to your opinion that you think Dessers is fantastic. He's amazing. I genuinely worry about people who think like that, because the guy is fucking shite, absolute shite, and needs to be sold in the summer. Needs gone in the summer. I mean, the guy is an absolute joke, and I hate him with a passion, really do. I've never ever in my life hated a Rangers player. I've been a fan since '86, but Cyril Dessers is a guy I cannot stand, just because he's an absolute fraud. Yeah, he should have played Igor, man. I think the substitutions as well during the game were appalling. I mean, taking off Hadji, who was one of the better players, he was rated 4 out of 5, 4.3 out of 5 by a number of people. Obviously, analysts, obviously, SofaScore, etc., etc. And you take Hadji off and you leave Dessers on. I don't get it. I genuinely don't understand that substitution. It just makes absolutely zero sense. Hadji is a creative player, a player who thrives in Europe, a player who can play a killer pass, can beat a man, can shoot from distance, can take a set piece effectively, and you take him off and you leave Cyril Dessers on. It makes zero sense. And the substitutions with 85 minutes to go, pointless, absolutely pointless. What is the point with 5 minutes? Yes, I know there's stoppage time, but realistically, with 5 minutes plus a couple of minutes added on, what is the point? It takes you 10 minutes to get up to speed in a game. I mean, just makes zero sense. And like I said, hopefully tonight kills stone dead any talk of Barry getting the job on a permanent basis. It really, really should. I think if he's still the manager next season, we'll be having a discussion in 6 to 8 months' time about who should be our next manager, because he'll be gone out the door. We'll be 10, 15 points behind Celtic again. Look, I mean, yes, let's reflect on the penalty. Yes, it should have been a penalty. No doubt. Dessers is pulled, his shirt's ripped. It's a penalty. It's not a sending off. By the rules, letter of the law, because there's been so many examples where people have fouled for a penalty, yet they haven't then been sent off. Was it the Alistair Johnson one in the Old Firm last season, where he brings down Fabio Silva? There was another one as well, which I can't remember off the top of my head. But look, who's to say even if we get that penalty and we score, we win the game? We don't know that. It's hindsight. You can say, we would have a better chance. Yeah, we probably would have a better chance because we've 1-0 up. But there's no guarantee that you go on to win the game from that point. There literally isn't, because nothing about that performance gives you any confidence that those players would have the talent and ability to live with those Bilbao players who were by far more talented on the night. Like Nico Williams, for example, and Sunset, I think it is, their striker. So yeah, it's a penalty. Look, it should be a penalty. It should have gone to VAR. I agree. Questions do need to be asked. I think UEFA need to come out and say, why was there no need for a VAR review? Why was no VAR review taking place? I do think that at the end of the day, it should have been a penalty. Yes, absolutely should have been a penalty. But like I said, you cannot say that even if that is given, that we go on to win the game. Yes, we probably stand a better chance, and I agree with that comment, but we don't necessarily go on to win the game. Yes, it gives you confidence, but like I said, there's no guarantee, because Bilbao may react in a different way, they may play in a different way, they may change the way they play, they may bring on players in different positions to counter. Look, it's hindsight. It's all wonderful with hindsight, but it doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, it's 2-0 to them. They go through, and fair play to them. Look, they were the better team on the night. And I think rather than blaming the ref for that penalty, which should have been a penalty, you need to look at the players again. And again, tonight, they've not raised their game. They've not put in a performance. It's not all down to them tonight, partly down to Barry Ferguson for getting his team selection wrong, not playing the best players in their correct positions, or being Philippe Clement, not picking the best players in their best positions. It's square pegs in round holes. Ridvan is not a right back, he's a left back. Tavernier is not a centre half, he's a right. And yes, he's played centre half this season, but his positioning is pretty shit. He's better as a right wing back, because it gives him the freedom to get forward. And one thing I will say about James Tavernier, and I will, as much as I've slagged the guy off this season, he is still good going forward. He still can put a ball in the box. And that's what you use him for. Give him width. That, to me, would have put Bilbao under more pressure. They've got then something to worry about with someone running in behind them. To me, wrong decision. And like I said, I don't think it's just the players tonight who didn't turn up. I think it's also the manager that gets it very badly wrong tonight. And I think that's probably shown Andrew Kavanagh, Parag Marathe, Niels Koppen, Greta Steinson, whoever's going to make the decision that he's not the man for the job. And I wouldn't give him a 12-month rolling contract. I wouldn't give him any contract. I'd say to him at the end of the season, thanks, Barry, for getting us to the end of the season. Back you go to your radio station. All the best, buddy. Thank you very much for what you've done for us. And yeah, look, he's done the best. Look, I'll say you one thing. And Barry's done the best with what he's got. He's done the best with what he's got. At the end of the day, look, we're out. Hopefully that's the last Rangers Thursday night for a good few years now. Hopefully it will be a Rangers Tuesday and a Rangers Wednesday night in the Champions League. We need Champions League football. We do not need Europa League football. Yes, it's a booby prize. It's a second prize. It's like, it's like being the best looking guy in the Burns ward. At the end of the day, that's what the Europa League is. We need to be in the Champions League next season. If we're going to ever get back onto a situation where we can compete on a level financial playing field with that lot from across the city, we need to play Champions League football. As Chris Boyd said, for those fans who say it's our level, give me peace. That's not what we need. We need Champions League football next season. And to get Champions League football and to stay in the Champions League and to do well in the Champions League, or at least compete, we need a major squad overhaul. Massive squad overhaul. Guys, let me know your thoughts on last night. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, please remember to like, comment, share and subscribe. And remember always, we are the people.